But we're starting off today with Bant Ephemerate control. I've made some changes from the last time we played it. I am trying out 2 Remands, 1 Logic. Not a big fan of Mana Leak in this deck. But I do think the first Logic Knot is good. I'm playing the first Teferi Hero of Dominaria over the second Time Warp today, so that way we have an out to Infinite Life, which usually does drastically improve the Heliod matchup. And we're trying out Auriok Champion in the sideboard as well, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's keep this hand. No Bant Triome, once again, mocking me. Actually, maybe we should mulligan, yeah. No creature to go with our double Ephemerate. It's kind of an awkward hand. Let's keep this one. I'm probably putting back Teferi. Or I could put back Ice-Fang. Yeah. And then we can get the Snow Dual land, and then we don't have a green card in our hand right now to not be able to cast. Turn 1, Prismatic Vista. Do I think the Stormforge variant is better or just different? It's definitely different. I'm not sure which is better though. I've played a lot of the Stoneblade deck, and I think that deck is good, but I haven't played very much of this deck in this new metagame, so I'm still trying to learn. No, so we do have that main deck Teferi Hero of Dominaria, so we don't need to concede to Infinite Life, which is nice. Actually, let me just draw a card with Ephemerate. If we draw an untapped land, I'm going to want to have Logic Knot up. We did not draw the untapped land. I'm going to type out this little spiel, but I'm not going to actually send it until my opponent actually goes to Infinite Life here. So now we're going to need to win with Teferi Hero of Dominaria, which will be obnoxious, but doable. Did draw our land. So we can go Teferi, bounce Heliod. I think I'd rather bounce Heliod with Teferi. 1, because we get to draw a card while we're still missing lands, but 2, if we Skyclave it, they're like kind of likely to have access to another Heliod in their hand. My opponent is at Infinite Life, or we're going to be treating them as if they're at Infinite Life here. And just having a main deck way to, just not be dead to Infinite Life, I think is pretty important for your control decks right now. Harvard Yard 16 months in a row. Has it really been that long? I guess so. I guess it has. Welcome back, buddy. Time flies. It's a good draw. So now this is a Triome. There's the Bant Triome. We don't quite have Death Touch on the Ice-Fang though. And it can't effectively block the Auriok Champion, so why don't I just go Wall of Omens, and we can hold up Logic Knot / Ice-Fang here. To be precise, it's high, but not infinite number. I mean, it's effectively infinite. I will treat it as if they have infinite life. You do have Death Touch? Oh, I do. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. I don't know why I wasn't counting the forest. I was counting this, but I wasn't counting the forest. Looks like our opponent might have a Ballista here, which we can't beat. The Logic Knot doesn't get the job done. Would running a script to execute a loop in MTGO be bannable? No, it's just not usually very effective. This deck cannot do infinite attacks without, now that it's lost Mystic Sanctuary. But the old version could. So they shouldn't be able to Heliod combo me this turn. I think they should be 1 mana short. So I should be safe to block something with Ice-Fang. Probably just get the 4/4 Spike Feeder off the board, although they can move the counters to the champion. So maybe we should just get the champion off the board. The champion's putting a counter every time a creature ETBs. I think that makes sense to me. I think we can also maybe chump block the... Oh, they're sitting everything at Teferi. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to double chump block to save Teferi. Just let Teferi die. Teferi dying also helps this Logic Knot. But my opponent can counter the Logic Knot with Ranger Captain. Or are they going to Ballista now so that to play around a counterspell? I mean, they have the Ranger Captain to play around counterspell. Yeah, they're just playing a Spike Feeder. Okay. So here, because they have the Ranger Captain, what we need to do is Skyclave their Heliod. Opponent's hand is Ballista Mystery card. I'll go ahead and shock so I can have Ephemerate / Logic Knot up. Andriki, 4 months, and Turtle Power, 12 months, 1 year. Happy anniversary. So we're going to take 4 here. Although it's kind of awkward if they attack with the Ranger Captain. If we block it with a wall, they can move a counter there. I think that's probably fine. Morgun, thank you for your 5 months in a row. Dude, Hype Train already? That's awesome. Happy Monday, everybody. Alright, Arbor Elf cast. It's a bit awkward if they have Collected Company here and we Ephemerate Skyclave targeting Ranger Captain. Let me just Ephemerate this wall right now. See what we draw. Snow-covered plains. Their hand is Walking Ballista Mystery card. If that mystery card is a... Coco, it's pretty bad for us, but I think I'll just still do this. If they sack in response, they have Coco, and there's not much... we can't really do much. I mean, they don't 100% have Coco. They might just value the... me being unable to resolve a Planeswalker here, actually. But they're, at the very least, likely to have Coco. Well, there's my Out to Infinite Life, so I'm glad that card is not just on the bottom of my deck. So how Teferi beats Infinite Life, before we get asked a million times, is you Ultimate Teferi, you exile all of your opponent's permanents, and then Teferi could -3 on itself, so that you never deck yourself. And then your opponent will deck before you do, and you are just passively exiling all of your opponent's permanents, which is nice. I think we can take 4 again here. No Coco is also super good for us. Yeah, I don't think losing Sanctuary was that big a deal for this deck, but I do think that losing the... I do think losing Uro is a big deal. Uro is really important for this deck, but still a workable deck without it. Is timing out an issue if they go infinite? I don't like to try to play to the clock. I like to try to emulate. Oh, yeah, I guess they didn't want to keep moving counters. This actually implies that they drew Coco. But we can go Teferi plus Logic Knot for Coco here. That is Ballista and a likely Collected Company. Could just be a bluff. I mean, they didn't have it last turn. They must have just top decked it. Kind of stinks to not be able to use my Force of Negation on this, but is this untapped? Yeah, okay. Exile Misty, Teferi, Ice-Fang, I think, here. Yeah, Scoreblade I think is very good too. I mean, I also think this deck is still definitely a playable deck, for whatever that's worth. Teferi dies to land plus Ballista. 4, 5, 6. That's true, yeah. They don't necessarily know that this is my only out to Infinite Life. They also, like, I think are kind of incentivized to still hold the Ballista for when they can stick a Heliod. Which looks like it's right now. Oh, damn it, so we lose. Yeah, we could have maybe waited a turn on the Teferi. Looks like that would have been the winning line. Feels a bit bad. But on to the next game. Ontanice is fine against them. Collector Ouphe shuts off. I have been boarding in like the first copy of Collector Ouphe in this matchup, I remember. I don't know if they still play Choke. I think Choke is less popular right now. I think I'm going to trim a wall for at least the first copy of Ontanice. Probably want to find room for 2 copies. I think Venser is medium. I guess it's okay against the Utopia Sprawls. Might cut the Venser. Crash has 6 months. Let's get the scam train going. Hell yeah. Maybe trim an Ephemerate. If I'm going to be trimming on creatures, we could do something like this. Kind of like the look of this. Let's do this. If you logic not X4, how do they win there? Just killing Teferi. I mean, right there, my opponent would have infinitely comboed with the Ballista. We knew that was in their hand. Getting Snowland into basic forest, probably. A weird hand. Ontanice seems worse than Path. Ontanice is much, much better against specifically Arbor Elf is the thing. And I mean, I have all the Path Exiles in my deck are staying in. But against Arbor Elf, you really would like to have Ontanice. It's also better against like Conclave Mentor, Auriok Champion, Walking Ballista if it's just in play. Well, it's the first match, JK with Ephemerate. It's kind of early to tell. We're down a game. I'm happy that I am playing the Hero of Dominaria. That paid off, although we were able to get kind of top decked out, I guess. Ranger Captain for Ballista. Okay. I think I'm going to Skyclave their Sprawl. We can Ephemerate the Skyclave to get rid of the Ranger Captain if we want to. What do you think of Nahiri Emrakul? I'm not super high on it, honestly. It's like I really enjoy playing that combo, but like the issue with playing Nahiri Emrakul is that you'd be playing it instead of Teferi Time Raveler, or sorry, Teferi Hero of Dominaria, which I just don't think you're very incentivized to do. Witness is very, very good if we can find a land. We know our opponent has a Ballista. We don't know any of their other cards. How necessary is it to have Graveyard Hate right now? I think somewhat necessary. But not for every deck. It's possible, like I'm not choosing to play any right here. It's possible I should be playing some. I do think the reality is in Modern, and this is I think a good thing, that you can choose to beat any deck that you want to, but you can't just choose to beat every deck. You just can't choose to have hate for everything. That's a great draw. Yeah, so we're very likely to be able to infinitely combo with Time Warp, although I guess they can actually break it up with these Ranger Captains, huh? Should be able to play around it, though. Drawing the second Ephemerate was a big deal as far as our ability to play around it. Yeah, Prime subs get access to sideboard guides, although I admittedly haven't updated them in a while. But you can link your Discord here to find some old ones. It's just kind of hard to have sideboard guides when I have not really figured out this format, you know what I mean? I'm going to block like this, I think Ephemerate and exile one of the Ranger Captains. The format's just changing so quickly that like I don't think sideboard guides are really possible right now. But once things stabilize a little bit, I'm going to try to work on the sideboard guides. Fair enough. Fair enough. Is this an unfortunate draw? Is Cryptic just hard to cast on curve in this deck? Yeah, the mana in this deck is far from perfect. But you can cast Cryptic with this deck. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna let this resolve, Ephemerate Eternal Witness, and then cast Skyclave after this resolves. Or maybe I'll cast that, bouncing an illusion token, holding up Ephemerate. I think that's kind of good. Yeah, I think this is like a little bit better against my opponent having more interaction. The very playable Conclave Mentor into a 1/1 Walking Ballista, which is going to be a 2/2, which kind of stinks. So I guess we need to get back Skyclave, right? Getting back Ephemerate's not going to do very much. But most lists only play 2 Walking Ballista, so if we exile that one here, they should not have another one in their deck, which is kind of a big deal. Attacking everything at me. I'm going to block here. If they want to trade their Walking Ballista for my wall, I'm okay with that. Which is a fine trade for them because I have Ephemerate coming down. I'm just a trade I think I'm willing to take. They decide that's not something that they want to do, which is fine. Ice-Fang's an interesting draw. We could just go ahead and Time Warp this turn. I kind of like that. Cool. It's a fine draw. So we can go Skyclave, Ice-Fang, onto Ice, right? Yeah. So I think we want to go Skyclave Ballista, onto Ice, Conclave Mentor. Guess we'd also have Remand up if we'd prefer to cast that. I feel like they maybe should have targeted me. I'm not sure. I'm not too torn up either way. Yeah, I agree that Supreme Verdict is well positioned to Plague. I agree with that. I feel like we can just let this resolve. Seems fine. I'll block Ice-Fang. Or block with Ice-Fang. Would love to see them just like activate Heliod to put a counter on something. But there's not really too many 2-drops that we'd be that scared of. Auriok Champion may be the worst one. Yeah, don't really care about Arbor Elf here. Alright, get to untap. Cryptic Command up now. We have stabilized. They're not at infinite life, which is nice. I think we're pretty ahead here. You could have saved your first Ephemerate by responding to the last ping from Ballista with the second Ephemerate. I think I remember considering that. It's been a few turns. I don't remember exactly why I chose not to do that. What is this attack? Just double lifelink. Yeah, that's a great sign for us. I think we just bounce Heliod. Just deprive, like, just kind of time walk them here, right? Feels like a blowout. Did I get any reps in with Black White Zombies off stream? Oh, I finished the league I joined. I went 3-2. I didn't play very much Magic yesterday. Did play some D&D though. Okay, we're kind of flooding out. If we draw a Turn of Witness, they lose, though. Just an immediate infinite turns. So we have 2 more Witnesses in the deck. Another land. Man, I feel like I've been flooding so much lately. Feels bad. Another land. Obviously, we're still, definitely in it here. Probably should cast Ontanice. Since if I don't, they can technically kill my Teferi. In the Soul Herder version, what takes Uro's play? In the Soul Herder version, I mean, in the Soul Herder variants, I only played 1 Uro, usually. So you just kind of have the pick of your, of what you can kind of do whatever you want with it. I kind of took a look at maybe building like the Bant Soul Herder deck again. I've got some issues with that version though. I think it's not very well positioned. Come on, dude. It's been really bad. It's been flooding so much lately. Come back, Mystic Sanctuary, please. We need you. I'll just take 2. Maybe add a Mana Seeker too. You got some suggestions? You can play the 1 mana art enchantment that if you put 100 Helix Pinnacle, that's a good mana sink. I mean, this deck usually has a ton of gas. This deck usually is not light on things to do. I mean, sometimes this happens, but the reality is, like, sometimes, like, you're really ahead and then you draw, like, 6 out of 8 lands, and you lose. So chump block here, path, go to 1. If we draw a Turn of Witness, I guess we don't combo because they have Ranger Captain. It's actually a bit awkward. I think they're going to sack their Ranger Captain in response here. I guess I thought wrong, huh? Stinks. I've expressed several times that Helia combo looks very good, but I haven't played on stream for a while. I've never played it on stream, I think. Is that because it has low stream entertainment, or do I not enjoy the deck? I mean, neither. I mean, the goal on my stream is to try to innovate and build deck lists. That's maybe not exactly what the title implies, but that's what I want to do. It's what I try to do, and so I don't really feel like the Helia deck has a lot to innovate on. So I don't really. What is this Bovel doing over there? Yeah, so I'm just like not that interested in working on the deck because I don't think there's a lot of wiggle room. They've got Remand / Ice-Fang here. Grinding Station combo, huh? I'm gonna go ahead and Remand this. We can get untap and Skyclave the Ridden 6. Opponent pretty unwilling to sacrifice this bauble. They don't have Metallic Rebuke up. Come here to see blue decks that cast Boil. Hell yeah. It's been a while since I've done that. Jace Brainstorm. Very interesting to play Jace in the Grinding Station deck. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Seems fine. Now if they have Rebuke, they can Rebuke, which feels bad. So you probably don't want to play Teferi this turn into a possible Metallic Rebuke. Probably would just want to play Wall plus Ice-Fang on their turn. Could also like draw like maybe Ephemerate and go for it. But with all the card advantage. Well, we're dead if we don't find exactly Force of Negation off of our Ice-Fang. We know that they have Grinding Station in their deck. We could sit and make them show us, but I have a pretty good idea of what their list looks like. So I probably want to play some amount of Anthonized to answer their Emrys. Collector Ouphe, obviously very good too. Kind of don't mind playing 1 or 2 copies of Aether Gust. I think Remand's like not that good against them either. I feel like you can maybe cut the Time Warp in this matchup. I also may want to play some amount of Veil of Summers. I'm not sure how many though. Miniature Catfish, 7 months. Welcome back. Thank you for that resubscription. Is Neoform totally dead now? I mean, no. You can play Mox Amber and then, yeah. Mox Amber and like Manamorphoses or Prismatic or Prophetic Prism in your deck can help you go off. Your deck's like slower but can still theoretically kill on turn 1. But it's probably just not that good of a deck. Maybe I do need to play these Remands. Something like this. Maybe I could play just 1 wall, get the first Veil of Summer in there. Is Jace too hard to cast in this deck? No, but I also think that you don't necessarily want to play Jace. That it is true that it's a good flood insurance. You could maybe play Jace over Teferi Hero as you're like out to infinite life. But I don't know. The problem with like this deck has a ton of gas. This deck usually has a ton of gas at least, and the problem with like in that spot, like, you know, we drew 7 lands. We were really ahead. We had double Cryptic, double Remand. My opponent was low in resources. We had Teferi ticking up, and then we just drew like 7 lands. And so it's not like we could have just magically teleported a Jace the Mind Sculptor to our hand. It's not like we could, you know, how are we drawing our, you know, our card in that kind of spot? So I think that you're just supposed to take in that kind of spot. You're just supposed to take the variance. Okay, thank you for your resubscription 4 months in a row. Make working from home not completely horrible. Hell yeah. Welcome back, buddy. I think we're going Breeding Pool here. Yeah, you could maybe play Yorion too. Although I feel like in this version at least, the Yorion makes your sideboard so tough. So opponent, very obvious Rebuke again. Would like this to resolve. Mostly so I can try to find a land. Maybe we as blue players, Not that I necessarily want to speak for the chat. I've gotten very, very spoiled by Mystic Sanctuary and have just not flooded out of a game in a year. Don't even need to play around Monkey. Yeah, I like Lurrus a lot too. I really like the companion metagame. We could play our Teferi this turn. I think my opponent has Metallic Rebuke, so playing our Teferi does seem kind of good. Pretty unlikely we die here. Probably theoretically possible. Yeah, Jace is fine. We can just Skyclave it. I would Mystic Sanctuary Logic Knot here if it were still legal. Maybe we don't need to Skyclave Jace. We can maybe let them have another Brainstorm. Let me just get my Glacial Floodplain here. See what we draw. Untapped Bant Triome, pretty good. See, let me just draw a card. See, give me some more options here. Because we can draw like a 2-mana counterspell. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Go to Teferi minus. It's kind of bad against exactly Ridden 6, but I don't know. With them having one more land, we could just get comboed. Yeah, let me actually just hold up Bana here. Convince her end of turn. Yeah, we were just at to Mox Amber Grinding Station, Underworld Breach, and then they have like they got to Brainstorm, so they have more looks. It's also kind of nice if we play either Venser or Ice-Fang, we can just attack the Jace down. It's also kind of nice if they just like proactively Veil of Summer here. Venser can still bounce their spell. Yeah, like here we just don't need to do anything about Underworld Breach. How does opponent's deck work? So Grinding Station, Underworld Breach, double Mox Amber, or any Mox Amber and any 0-mana artifact lets them cycle through their whole deck, and then they cast Thassa's Oracle, usually off of Underworld Breach to win. Could the mana handle a Castle Ardenvale? Probably not, but maybe. This next mana is tough. It's much more restrictive than the Bant deck, the Bant Squirrelblade deck. So like I've been thinking about. I think you could probably play an Ardenvale and Squirrelblade is something I'll be doing going forward. The mana requirements are actually like really not restrictive in Squirrelblade, and so you can probably afford to play 1 or 2 utility lands. Yeah, I mean, if they're just gonna play Jace, that's fine. Although, I guess if they have Grinding Station here, we lose. So we could go, like, counter, bounce Underworld Breach. Which feels bad. Feels really bad, actually. But yeah, we're just dead if they have Grinding Station, so kind of like not being just dead. The fact that we just can't double spell here. I mean, now we can double spell, but saw us 4-2 in the challenge. How did I end? I think I ended 5-3. Did make a good run, which was nice. It's been a little while since I had a good run. Yeah, Ardenvale very good in the equipment deck. We could also play like one Moorland Haunt potentially. I think that you could maybe play a Moorland Haunt instead of Ardenvale. I'm not sure which is better. The flying is very relevant. Although, you know, Castle Ardenvale is very good with Sword of Feast and Famine. We don't have, you know, infinite creatures. We're not a tribal deck. Just some interesting options. So this would probably ping my Ice-Fang. We do have a backup Ice-Fang at least. Do you have a favorite Pioneer deck? Probably Mono Blue Devotion is my favorite. I usually, when I play a tournament though, play Mono Green Planeswalkers. Thoughts on the one Glacial Floodplain? It's good, in my opinion. I like it. Do you think WotC should errata Island have Mystic Sanctuary's ability? No. No, I do not. Is this Omnath? It's awesome. I think I'm going to Venser that back to their hand. So the hand is Omnath, Underworld Breach, probably Metallic Rebuke, mystery card. If we draw a land, we can Ice-Fang the Goose and kill both of my opponent's Planeswalkers. There's the land. And hold a Cryptic. Thoughts on the new meta so far? Aggro decks overcame the meta. I mean, aggro decks are really, really popular, yeah. But I also think they're pretty beatable. I think that red-based aggressive decks are usually... being tier 1 usually feels pretty good for the metagame, in my opinion. Kind of nice that we get to turn off their Mox Amber, too. Yeah, I think Modern's looking pretty good. Obviously not perfect. And Modern is never going to be perfect, but I'd say that this has felt like a good Modern format so far. Is Snapcaster an Ephemerate in the graveyard? Exiles it, but it still rebounds. I don't know. I think so. No, sorry. Rebound says if you cast a spell from your hand. So no, it does not work that way. What are the replacements to Uro in this deck? Third Eternal Witness, fourth Wall of Omens, and Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. And the main, you could also like play a second Time Warp. You could maybe play Kazuma, but Kazuma's probably just not that good. I've also thought about playing a Thragtusk in the main deck. I thought that might be interesting. I think we have to bounce the Breach and draw a card here. Remember, this isn't tapping for mana right now. This does make them draw a card to fail, which is kind of frustrating, but... their hand is Omnath, Breach, 3 mystery cards. They shouldn't be able to combo. I guess they actually can if they have land, Grinding Station, and they have 0 mana artifacts, Breach. Any thoughts on Allrund? I don't know what Allrund is, so I guess I have no thoughts on it. Let me look at the card, I guess. Card Allrund. Oh yeah, I don't think that card's modern playable. Alright. Well, that's terrible. So we have Ephemerate on Venser up, though. We get to exile their blocks, which makes it much harder for them to combo. Venser beats their Omnath. Venser probably beats their Breach. Do you think they should ban Uro in Modern? Yeah, I'm glad that they did. Opponent's deck looks cool. Can't remember if we won game 1 or lost. I think we lost. Yeah, we lost. Wait, so they're just not doing anything with this Underworld Breach? Guess it was just bait. I mean, maybe they were trying to get mana off of Omnath, but whatever. Seeing Omnath, I'm kind of interested in maybe playing the third copy of Gust. I mean, Gust hits Rin and 6, Gust hits Underworld Breach, Gust hits Veil of Summer, although not very effectively on that one. Kind of down for that. This looks like a fine configuration to me. We haven't seen Emery yet, but they've got to be playing Emery. They're playing Bobble. Skyclave is great against our opponent's deck. Yeah, I do have a Giants, a Teamer Giants deck in the Stream Decker that I would like to play today, although not 100% that we're going to have time. I'm planning on playing this, then Jeskai Lotus Field, then a Dimir control deck, and then a Teamer Giants deck, which is, you know, just kind of like a Teamer Dryad Valakut control deck. Had a good weekend, Ghost. Thanks for checking in. How was your weekend? How do I feel about Gilded Goose? I'm pretty low on Goose unless you have artifact synergies, which our opponent does have. Tap Stomping Ground. I guess I'm bouncing the Goose with Gust. If they Veil of Summer, then we get to Teferi Time Raveler and bounce the Grinding Station. Although I guess that's not necessarily true because they still have the Goose mana up if they don't Veil of Summer. Or if they do Veil of Summer, rather. Just gonna make a food? That would be totally fine. It's totally fine. They're gonna mill themselves for 3 right now. I don't really know what the... Oh, I guess they got to untap. That's fair enough, I guess. Put the Goose on the bottom. I think getting Teferi down is really good. It is theoretically possible that they kill us next turn if they have untapped land, Underworld Breach, Monk's Amber, and we don't draw Force of Negation. But I think I'm okay to just, like, not play around that. And then untap and be in really commanding position. Especially in sideboard games, they're like less likely to be so in on the combo anyways. And I'm fine if they sack their Breach to itself to fizzle the draw. It probably means they have another Grinding Station in their hand, which is also fine. Skyclave plus Ephemerate is going to be great next turn, I think. Although I guess one bad thing that could happen is Rin and 6 on my Teferi. Stevie, 2 months in a row. Prime sub re-up, hell yeah. What are the Ouphes for aside from Belcher and Hammer Time? It's mostly those decks. It's also good against Ouphes all spells. It's good against Tron, which is back. It's okay against E-Tron, but not great. But one of the better cards against Mono Green Tron. And occasionally you play against a deck like this, but that's not too relevant. I also usually bring in like 1 copy against Aether Vial decks. Not always, but it's like more so like you have all these Force of Negations that are bad, so just having like a relevant Collector Ouphe is fine. Yeah, but Tron is back, which is bad. I don't know. I don't usually enjoy playing against Tron, but I'm glad that the Tron players who enjoy the deck get to play it again, because it was not good for a while. Does Tron exist? Yeah, Tron's popular right now, and Tron is good as well, I think. It's not great, but it's good. Right, rest in peace to Teferi. Oh, dude, Metallic Rebuke would be so bad for us here. I mean, I don't think we're supposed to play around it. Yeah, they don't have it. We haven't actually seen Metallic Rebuke all game, but I do think that it's in their deck. Does that mean Tail's End is our savior again? I mean, Tail's End is really good against Mono Green Tron, yeah. I think that Talzin is still a playable modern card, and I'm still like main decking 3 in my Jeskai Lotus Field deck, but that's mostly to counter your own Lotus Field triggers. But Talzin lost a lot of stock when they banned Uro. Like the 4-color Omnath Uro, Red and 6 Teferi Time Raveler, Teferi Hero of Dominaria decks just don't really exist anymore. Although I don't know how true that is actually. Like Doom Switch has been playing some. Play some Jeskai. That's a good Tron matchup. Yeah, I will play some Jeskai Wildfire again. But maybe not. Probably not today. In fact, it's just not in the docket for today. But I will again play that deck at some point. You like Talzin over Rejection versus Tron? Yes, but Rejection is better against Eldrazi Tron than Talzin. Not that Talzin is still fine against them, but that is an interesting thing to think about. So a lot of the cards that are good against Mono Green Tron aren't that great against E-Tron. Another value Underworld Breach. Maybe this is not. It was just a value one. They shocked in Steam Vents. It's probably worth throwing a counterspell at. I will do the full 5, because if they just pay 4 and get back Bauble, then we're getting 2 for 1. Do you have thoughts on Jeskai versus Blue-White? I'm just not very high on regular Blue-White control. I think it's a playable deck. I think Blue-White is a playable deck, but it's not a deck that I think is very good at the moment. It's fine, I guess. I probably want to ephemerate the Ice-Fang first. That way, if we rebound the Skyclave Apparition, then I guess sorry, it won't have Summoning Sickness either way. Yeah, I think Blue-White's fine. Just I think that Bant and Jeskai both make me want to be in those colors instead. It's like I don't know like what the like there's not like doesn't feel like there's a real big payoff for being Blue-White over Bant or Jeskai. Jailer stops Underworld Breach. I'm actually not 100% sure how that works. Alright, we need to draw some gas here. I think we're still going to Skyclave the Jace. But drawing a land is really bad. If we draw another land, we're just kind of screwed. It's a good draw. Pretty sure we're bouncing the 4/4 illusion token. Alright, bad draw. Four Field of Ruin and Archmage's Charm are the payoff to Blue-White. Maybe. I'm not even sure how good that is, though. Because like I think you want to be playing Castle Ardenvale in Blue-White. And then it's also like 4 Field of Ruin plus Archmage's Charm doesn't work very well together. You know what I mean? Like Charm plus Field of Ruin is a bit of an anti-synergy in my opinion. It's not a huge deal, but it is a bit awkward. So they might bounce my Ice-Fang so they can attack their illusion at my Teferi. But if they do that, I'll just like not block. I think I can attack their Teferi with my Skyclave. So they're going to attack with the illusion. I think we just block here. The mana Blue-White isn't good enough to play more than 2/3 Archmage's Charm. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Jeskai also gets a Triome, which is huge. And also, like, I think the Wildfire Flagstones thing is very powerful. I also think the Lotus Field thing is powerful, too. Didn't Blue-White with Colonnade won the challenge? Yeah, and I also don't think the list is very good. Maybe I'm just, maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't like the list very much. I know it won the challenge. I know Colonnade over Arden Vale won the challenge. I still think Arden Vale over Colonnade is better. Yeah, I know it won. I still disagree with it, but I could be wrong. They could be right. Yeah, Scred Red won a GP. We're probably chumping with Skyclave next turn. We could double block. It's probably just better to not do that, though. And I also will say blue-white control is a fine deck. It's just, I think that Bant, Jeskai, potentially 4-color, potentially Dimir, like, all seem like they have more strengths over, you know, basic blue-white to me at the moment. You mean immediately dismiss it despite it winning seems premature? I think maybe we're just arguing for the sake of arguing, but it's not like I haven't like spent my entire this is all I do. All constantly is think about this kind of stuff. That's all I do, and so like I have these opinions, and these opinions have not changed yet. You know what I mean? It's like it's not like blue-white control with Celestial Colonnade is not a deck I've just it's totally blowing my mind that it's emerging, and it's not like I haven't thought about putting Celestial Colonnade in a blue-white control deck, and I still have opinions on building the deck in that way, and those opinions have not changed yet. Do I think the Triumphs are bad for the format? Triumphs with blue seem insane. I mean, Triumphs with blue no longer feel insane since Mystic Sanctuary is banned. I think Triumphs are fine. I mean, fetch lands are really what's bad for the format, to be honest. Could you slot Stoneforge package to the deck? I don't think it's good to do so. I think you either want to be on in Stoneforge or Ephemerate, and not both, probably. Is this like a sore spot or something? I mean, people just kind of like continuously arguing the same thing. Is a sore spot for me, you know what I mean? Where people state their opinion, I state mine, and then I feel like at a certain point it's just better to start to move on in the conversation. But like when, you know, I give my opinion on a deck and people just kind of continuously feels like they like ask me to repeat myself. Just get a bit annoyed, I guess. Does that make me a toxic streamer? Yes, it does. Does it make me a bad streamer? Yes, it does. I think I have to double block this illusion token. Shallow Grave David and Panda, 9 months, Panda. Shallow Grave, 2 months. What has 5 cards in their hand? Could get comboed here, I just think we have to double block. What a draw. Thoughts on Teferi, good for modern or bad for modern? I don't know. Card's really unfun. But you kind of have to play it if you're playing blue-white, and like as far as like color pie balance goes, I'm not sure that you want to nerf blue decks again. I brought up challenge win because I care about your thoughts on it. I wasn't trying to say you're wrong or be mean. Sure. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of feel like an asshole sometimes when I start to get sassy. Maybe it's because I haven't eaten breakfast. I wasn't trying to, you know. I just feel like it's good to move on after I give my opinion, you know, on that kind of stuff. It's not. I don't even remember if it was you that exactly asked the same thing like twice in a row. But I don't know. I'm just a drama queen. And I apologize for that. Do you think they would ever fix the Pillars of Modern and unban looting and Opal? I think if they unban looting, it would be a huge mistake. Faithless Looting would be the best card in Modern if they unbanned it, and I think if you unban a card and it's immediately the best card, you've done something wrong. You think that could use a Castle Vantress? I think Castle Vantress is really hard on the mana for this deck, sadly. I do like Arden Vale, I do like Vantress, but I think you probably can't afford to play those cards. Yeah, there is also no such thing, I think, as like a Pillar of Modern Sacred Cow anymore. Just don't exist. Fair enough. Would Careful Study also be the best card in Modern? I refuse to cater to the Blue-Red Phoenix stands who just want Blue-Red Phoenix to be exactly how it used to be. I get it. I understand. I feel you. But I refuse to just, like, you know, advocate for this world where Blue-Red Phoenix is the best deck. Kind of surprised they milled themselves. I guess they might have Thassa's Oracle in their hand. What if Phoenix doesn't exist? Careful Study is still too good? Probably, yeah. I think a 1-mana draw 2, discard 2 is too good for Modern. It enables Dredge and Hollow One and Dredge, Hollow One, Phoenix. I mean, I know we're talking about theoretically banning Phoenix and printing Careful Study. I feel like, and like the Vengevine decks as well. You know, honestly, in my opinion, if Careful Study would be, if not the best, one of the best cards in Modern immediately. And I think that, like, that would be a bad thing, to print a card like that and have it immediately be so dominant. Yeah, the Gristlebrand decks too. There's just a ton of strategies that would become very, very good and popular if Careful Study was printed. I think that you could print something. You can print a new enabler like this. There was a little while where I was thinking that a 1-mana draw 1, discard 1 that flashed back for 2 mana or maybe 3 mana would be fine. And mulligan this. Playing against Obosh. Maybe this hand is good against Obosh. This hand can play around Blood Moon pretty well. Yeah, I think seeing Obosh in the Companion Zone I'm going to keep. What about 1-mana Tormenting Voice? That would be the best card in Modern by a decent amount. Yeah, 1-mana Tormenting Voice would be the best card in Modern too. Yeah, the problem with like making it Faithless Rummaging is you're making Dredge like absolutely absurd. Like those type of effects are better in Dredge than they are than a looting effect. Did I see the Grixis Valky deck yet? No, I didn't. I don't know what's the payoff. You're just playing Valky fairly. Yeah, Haggle is a bad card. I think that they're, you know, with infinite amount of design possibilities that exist in Magic, you can find something that's better than Haggle and worse than Faithless Looting and a bit more balanced. Into the Wind Valky? I don't know. Feels so fragile to me. But it's cool. Like, I'm sure it's very fun, but the problem is just like your combo dies to any removal spell, and this seems very fragile. But it looks fun. I think Dredge is fine right now, I agree. I don't know if they're main decking Blood Moons right now. It's like, who knows what the Obosh players are doing. Cool. But I was able to play around it. It's a good draw. Yeah, I think Bring to Light for Valky is decent. It's also 5 mana. It's 2 turns slower, but you know maybe you could do it on turn 4, turn 3 if you have acceleration. I agree, much more resilient. So I could path my Ice-Fang in response. I think I'm just gonna block with the Wall of Omens. It's pretty good. I mean, we can draw Skyclave and cast it now. Let's draw all the basics, gamer. Right, now a path. Might be pathing my Eternal Witness again, just so I can have Cryptic up. Let's see. I think this is fine. In response to a removal spell, of course. They start off spending 3 mana. Maybe that was like to put Obosh into their hands. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. This is a very funny board against Blood Moon. Every basic in my deck can play. But I did see Obosh and I kept this hand because it was good against Blood Moon. Was like the entire thinking behind keeping this, which ended up paying off. Probably could have light up to stage 2 with the way they've been attacking and them tapping 3 mana. Looks like a Spyro. I think I will bounce the moon. Bounce the moon, Time Warp, Rest in Peace, Mystic Sanctuary. Interested in these 10 cards. I want to cut Remands. I think I want to cut the Time Warp, the Venser, Third Eternal Witness, the Cryptic Commands, the Logic Knot. Yeah, cutting the Cryptics makes our mana so much better. Third Force. Do you think there's a possible modern home for Crackling Drake? Yeah, I think so. I remember Timu was playing it in Blue-Red Kiki for a little while. What do I think about Teferi? I mean, the card's super unfun. I don't think you should ban it right now. I don't know. I'm kind of over it. Just kind of overthinking about Teferi. Kind of overthinking about bans too. I also think like being able to play around Teferi has felt like it's gotten easier over time. Obosh into the hand. I'd love to draw like a white plains and get to Unthanice. Plus hold up Aether Gust / Ice-Fang. Which we didn't get to do, but that's okay. Do you think they could unban a cantrip to increase the power level if they did? I don't know. I really, as far as like ban, unban questions go, I'm not going to have an opinion on it for a while because this format is still new. And I think that it would be unwise for them to make a banless decision anytime soon. Like within like the next like 3 to 4 months minimum. So I don't have an opinion that anything should be banned or unbanned anytime soon. So I'm also not gonna probably be very interested in talking about that kind of stuff either for the foreseeable future. I think I'm gonna Ice-Fang this, or Ice-Fang right now. And draw basic plains, which is the perfect draw. Seems good to draw perfectly. I think I'm not gonna play Teferi Time Raveler. Hold up Gust plus Ephemerate. How's the deck so far? I think it's pretty good. Like the other Bant deck, we've been getting flooded a lot. And I think this deck is a little bit more resilient to that with the Ephemerate Eternal Witness thing. But that seems to be the problem with Bant, is you have a lot of cards that just say draw a card on it, and so cards that just say draw a card, you know, make you more likely to be flooded. And so I'm not sure what the best way to deal with that is. And like, maybe you just need to accept it. You're playing a Bant deck, you're pretty fragile to being flooded. Maybe I need to be playing more Jaces in these decks. I could see playing a Jace the Mind Sculptor over a Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. I think we keep. Yeah, Spellseeker might be fine. It could possibly be way too good. It would be awesome in this deck. Would Vindicate even see play? Yeah, it would. Like, I think it would. Anguished Unmaking doesn't. I mean, Vindicate is way better than Anguished Unmaking. But I don't think Vindicate would be insane. I think it would be a fine card. Which is when you print a card into a format, you want it to be fine. You know, you don't want it to be absurdly good. You want it to be doing what you perceive to be healthy things for the format. Gerard's Verdict would be cool. Wait, is it that much better by losing non-land even on sorcery speed? I mean, yes, in Modern, where like the biggest problem with like these rock decks is they can't beat Titan or Tron, you know? Yeah, like their removal spells are just so dead against so many decks, but Vindicate being able to blow up lands is huge. Alright, is this going to be Angler with Stub Up? No. Take your Teferi, play Angler is also pretty good. But Vindicate is much, much better than Anguished Unmaking. It's better than Assassin's Trophy. It's better than a lot of things. I'm going to main phase this. What do we replace Uro with? Third Eternal Witness, fourth Wall of Omens, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. And then the Mystic Sanctuary for Glacial Floodplain, and also tweak the mana a little bit beyond that too. Yeah, losing like a removal spell that also makes you lose 3 life is huge. Like, that is a huge downside in Modern. Resolves. Discard Stubborn Denial. Guess I probably shouldn't have played a land they didn't know about. I think we're just ignoring the Scions. I kind of think that they have a Gurmag Angler in their hand. I want to Venser that. They're at, 6 life. They discard Kolagon's Command. Wow. Double Shadow, huh? I also should have played. Should have had the ability to give this Death Touch. Alright, I'll bounce the Scions, I guess. Probably has another stub. It's a good draw. Skyclave Apparition is, I guess, the card we're most hoping to see here. Ephemerate is interesting, but my opponent, again, probably has stub. Or in denial. I think I'm attacking. I know it grows the shadows, but it doesn't grow them too lethal. We've got blockers. You got a stub? They have a Dismember going to exactly 1 life. Wow. GG. Well played. I don't know. Murderous Treader is a pretty underpowered card, and it also seems kind of maybe not that difficult to cast. But I wouldn't hate adding it. You probably just can't afford to play very many. So you have to cut the forces, cut the remands, cut the time warp, cut the fourth ephemerate, maybe? I guess we can probably leave it in. Get Cryptic 3. Maybe cut Logic Knot. Logic Knot's not that good against them. It's okay. But I think I like the look of this deck. Auriok Champion is such a good sideboard card right now. Okay, on the play. Keeping this. Probably going Glacial Floodplain into Temple Garden. Assuming my champion doesn't just get discarded turn 1. Sounds great. Did I get a chance to look at the spicy Grixis Valkyrie list? People have been talking about Valkyrie plus the Winds card, and it looks really fun, but super duper fragile and worse than just Bring to Lighting for Valkyrie, probably. Just like when your 2-card 5-mana combo doesn't win you the game and is like gets you 2 for 1 by any 1-mana removal spell, even Lava Dart. Also like very fragile to Rin and 6. It's probably not a great place to be. I'm going to get Temple Garden because we have all these Auriok Champions in our deck. Also have a Skyclave. I'm also going to main phase this to play around Dispute. Getting Ice-Fang into play is usually really good. And they already know about it, so it's not like we're really accomplishing much by holding it here, I think. They also know about my Teferi. They don't know about my 3rd land. But they can probably guess that we could have found one with the Ice-Fang cantrip. So is this going to be Angler with Stub up, Shadow with Stub, or Dispute up? I think I'm going to play Wall, hold up Ephemerate. Not attack. Yeah, the Glacial Floodplain has been asked about a lot, and I think it's pretty good. They know about my Ephemerate, so they won't be casting a Fatal Push right there. Teferi in the Euro slot from Stream Deck. I was always playing this card. Hero of Dominaria, 3rd Eternal Witness, 4th Wall of Omens are the immediate replacements. Kind of fine with that being the card that's taken. I also think I'm just taking 6. This is never resolved. Oh, what? Unreal. Unreal that just resolved. What was my thought process of not firing off Ephemerate? It was really, really bad if my opponent had 1-mana removal. But next turn, I can kind of make their 1-mana removal worse by just playing my land and being able to block with Ice-Fang. And so if they take my Ephemerate, fine. But I think that if we Ephemerate and they have removal, it's just game losing for us. So we can bounce this Shadow. I think that's what we want to do. Really nice to draw 2 powerful spells in that spot, of course. And next turn we can maybe Ewit back either Skyclave or Auriok Champion, or Ephemerate and then get back Auriok Champion if we think that our opponent's cited out Team of Battle Rage. I think I like that. I think that my opponent's pretty likely to have cited out most of their Team or Battle Rages. Okay. Yeah, Zajad, maybe I was thinking that you wanted the 4th Toski in Stoneblade, but maybe the first Jace is good in the Squirrelblade deck, just so that you're not cold to the Infinite Life combo. That's probably an important thing to be doing right now. How do you feel with the design of Scourge of the Skyclaves? I like it. Yeah, it's cool. Probably not designed with Modern in mind, but I don't think it's too good for Modern. It's a card that you can play. A card that like punishes fetch lands is pretty nice too. Always in favor of that. I think we keep this on the draw, obviously. Veil Summer weaker on the draw. We don't have any white mana. But we are on the draw, so we're kind of likely to find some, and mulliganing against the discard deck is not great, and if we find double white, this hand's great. Even 1 white, this hand's pretty good. Interesting. So I will get a Glacial Floodplain if my opponent doesn't cast a discard spell. If they do, I'll get Temple Garden, of course. I think I'm gonna not cast Wall of Omens. Nah, never mind. I'll just cast Auriok Champion. They just don't have that many answers to it right now. Getting it into play is huge. What's the Snake Wall deck? This deck, are you talking about? Andrew, 10 months in a row. What did my opponent keep? I'm very confused. Thanks, Andrew. Welcome back. Thank you for the kind words. Not going to attack into Snapcaster. It's nice that Ewig gets more. Yeah, Ewig's very good. I guess I'm just kind of confused with like the 4 different messages chaining together. Missed a couple of them. Do you think Stifle is too good for Modern? Probably, yeah. I'm definitely not one of those players that wants like Legacy Delver to just be a Modern deck. That being said, I usually am in favor of any card being printed that makes fetch lands worse. So. Where you can just fetch for basics. So if like fetch lands, I'm not sure that that's actually true. Do you like Bant Control or Yorion Soul Rider version? I think probably this deck, but I like the Yorion deck too. Ooh, goblins. Well, Skyclave Ephemerate's really good in this matchup. I'm not sure if I ever played this matchup before. Probably once or twice. I know that Jim asked me for my Pyre list today, so I don't know if Jim is doing Mog Monday right now or if Jim is doing it later. But I'm just going to Skyclave their Pyre here. We're in really good position. There's a 2-mana Almond Cleric that makes activated abilities cost 2 more life. I'm not familiar with that one. Although maybe would be good in our Cleric's Pyre of Heroes deck that I kind of want to play again. Yeah, Sword of Feast and Famine is gnarly for sure for the Goblins deck. Alright, so I think I'm just going to main phase, get rid of the Snoop. It's just so bad if they have like Kiki Jiki or Sling Gang underneath or Munitions Expert. Then play Breeding Pool tapped. Hopefully we get to cycle the Remand. Should be able to. Oh yeah, Harsh Mentor. I think we actually had Harsh Mentor in the list. Well, I don't feel bad about remanding this even though they didn't tap the Cavern, because I would cast this remand either way to draw a card here. So like, you know, it does feel bad they didn't tap it for can't be countered, but it's not like I would just let it resolve to like reset the game, you know what I mean? Because I would have cast that anyways. But definitely I feel bad for them. I think I'm going to hold the Time Warp for a bit of a surprise oops I win next turn. But that was definitely a great draw. If Harsh Mentor had 3 attack, would it be playable? I don't know, probably not, maybe. They only hit Ringleader off of their Ringleader. So I'm a bit worried about Munitions Expert here. I think I'm just blocking like this. Okay, we win. Awesome. Infinite turns, baby. I guess I was actually supposed to exile the Mogwar Marshal so I could start attacking first, but it doesn't really matter. But I'm not scooping yet. It's always kind of funny to me when the a million clicks combo players make you click through your million click combo. You would think that the Goblins and the Heliod players would be inclined to concede in spots like this, but whatever, right? Maybe they're just jaded because no one ever concedes to them. Yeah, like maybe like in a PTQ2, like you want to be playing for time, but just like in a league, just feel like the amount of time is so irrelevant. But it's also like they can kind of see, they get to see more of the deck here, which is not nothing. I'm mostly just trying to talk to fill time while I combo here, instead of actually complaining. But eventually we'll get up to mana where we can tap my opponent's team and just attack a bunch. Now that we're hitting every land drop with the second Ephemerate. Actually, we can do that this turn, right? So now that we've shown them that they're dead, will they concede? Yes, they will. Okay. So Auriok Champion is a fine card against goblins, but it doesn't win the game. Veil of Summer stops Munitions Expert 2 and stops, Thought Seizes and removal spells if they bring those in. So I think I'm bringing in the Onthanice, the Champions. I do like Aether Gust usually against goblins. Guess I'm not a big fan of Teferi. Could do something like this. I guess Hero's pretty good with 4 Aether Gust in the deck. Oh, yeah, we want Collector Ouphe. Yeah, sorry. I forgot that they've got Pyre too. We need to be playing Ouphe. If we go to game 3, I'll bring it in. My bad. Let's keep this, though. No, Auriok Champion does not stop their combo because they can simply respond to the Auriok Champion triggers by killing you. In before. Kiki Jiki on top. So their hand is Ringleader, their top card is Conspicuous Snoop, and then underneath that is Boggart Harbinger. I probably am just going to Skyclave their Vial. Okay, they've shuffled away the Snoop and the Harbinger. They shuffled away the Harbinger. Getting rid of this Vial is such a big deal. I think I'm just gonna say if you have a Harbinger in your hand, good beats. Interesting. So the idea here, good beats, is that you can very consistently Valiant Changeling and then Pirate into Sundering Titan or Hellkites. I mean, I think it's probably just better to play Neoform, right? If this is your plan. Neoform is less mana. Maybe that's not true, but it sounds true. Probably trim the fourth wall. Seems fine. Deck also seems very, very fragile, I'll say, and probably not very competitive, but cool. Very cool. You probably don't need also 4 different 8-drops to tutor for. Like, maybe you can sideboard some, if some are, like, specifically good in matchups, but I don't think you need 8 or 4 different ones. Like, probably just Iona and Sundering Titan. I don't think the Utvara Hellkite's good. Alright, those are my thoughts. Is Jeskai Lotus Control still playable? Yeah, I think so. We're actually playing it next. I like the deck. Yeah, playable is, I agree, kind of weird to define at the moment. They can sack it there if they didn't want to put it on the top, but I think they do. So their hand is Harbinger, their top card is Snoop. If they matron here, they probably should have sacked. This feels not great. I think we have to get Island, although I'd love to get a Plains and Ephemerate. We do have 3 islands in the deck. Maybe I want to do that. Yeah, this is kind of like the high risk play. This may be just terrible, but I think we're like so behind that I don't mind taking the high risk play. Yeah, that gives us a blue. Although maybe I want to get a green. No, we don't have double white. Yeah, never mind. What's my most competitive Force of Negation deck? No? Maybe this one. I should have just got an island. Well, here I actually think I'm going to go Gust Blood Moon, then Ewit back Path. Even over standard blue-white builds. I don't like standard. I don't really like blue-white control very much right now. I know this is something we've talked about a lot today, I guess, but I think blue-white control is very medium right now. it's a playable deck, but I just think that you're more incentivized to be Bant or 4-color or so if they Violent Snoop, we can path, and then if they get a land, they shuffle away their Blood Moon too. Yeah, blue white is a fine Magic deck, but I'm just like don't think it feels like kind of lacking in power level, and it makes up a bit for that consistency, and I think it's just better to not be playing it. Thoughts on Jeskai and Nahiri control? I'm also not very high on it. Maybe I'm just not high on anything. Okay, so now we can path the Chieftain, and if they get a land, they have to shuffle, and then this also means they can't haste their Snoop combo. Yeah, and shuffle away the Blood Moon very big here. Blue-white control got first in the challenge. I know. I don't know. I'm kind of getting kind of sick about talking about it because we've talked about this a lot, but I still have these opinions, and I also I don't like how the blue-white decks are built, and I know that they did well this weekend, and you can definitely come to the conclusion that I'm just wrong and out of touch. I think that's a totally fine conclusion to reach, but I know that it did well this weekend. I still don't think it's better than Bant or Jeskai. And I also think that the builds that are playing, they got another Snoop. Wow, I think that the builds that are playing Colonnade over Castles are wrong for doing that as well. So, am I old and out of touch? Maybe yes, maybe no. But this is my opinion on the matter. All right, I'm gonna Ice-Fang here and hope to draw a land into Time Warp. I think that is a bit better than just casting the Time Warp. We did hit. I have to draw really, really well to get out of this, of course. That doesn't do anything, right? I mean, maybe they don't have a second Kiki Jiki. Yeah, with two Snoops, yeah, this doesn't really do it. This Cryptic doesn't stop them. Yeah. Well played, opponent. No, this isn't biased turn. Unless someone wants to tell me a way that it does, then I can tell you how it doesn't. Alright, GG's, well played, opponent. 3-2 with Bant Ephemerate today. What were our